Spice FM in Kabwe, Central Province, well covered for, and that is on 91.1, and live here in Lusaka and the surrounding areas on 89.9. Remember, we are also live on our Facebook page, that is 5FM Radio Zambia, and also on other online platforms such as Radio Garden, Radio Box. Those are apps that you can download on your phone and follow our conversation. Now, a majority of Zambians are dissatisfied with their country's economic conditions and overall direction. And the latest Afrobarometer survey reveals that most Zambians also describe their personal living conditions as bad, while lacking some basic necessities now than it was in 2020. Concerns about essential items such as food, cooking oil, fuel have persisted, and that the rising cost of living is a top priority. Also, we know that that is the top priority for government action, and along with water supply, health, and infrastructure. Today's program, we're going to speak more to the Afrobarometer report, which was released at the month end of October 2024. Other than that, we'll also discuss infrastructure development, especially around roads. My guest is well able to take us through that because he is also an economist. And other than that, he is the board chairman of the National Road Fund Agency. Mr. Noel Nkoma is our guest. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Zach, and good morning to the listeners out there. And thank you once again for having me here. It's great.
Yeah, it is great.
To be here. It's been a while now, and happy to be here.
And it's timely.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming you have settled as board chair at National Road Fund Agency.
Yes, this is a public calling, and when we are called to service, we will do our part and our best to ensure that we deliver value to the Zambian people.
Yeah, I know that we should have had these conversations a long time ago, but you did make mention that your new role as board chair at National Road Fund was quite involving. And I think it was also the time when just, at preparation levels, and you needed to be hands-on. But now that you've settled, we are grateful to have you. Let's first of all get into the nitty-gritties of the Afrobarometer report. Like I said in my preamble, it reveals that most Zambians are dissatisfied with the current status, and they are making comparisons as was the case in 2020, meaning that the UPND government was taking over power in 2021, and this report to me is trying to indicate that things were better before 2021. Your thoughts?
Thank you, Zach. And yes, I've had occasion to look at this report.
Yeah.
And my approach has always been, first of all, don't shoot down the report. Take time to understand it, analyze it,
right,
and be able to make what you call an informed opinion,
right,
or response, right?
Yeah.
And first of all, is to acknowledge, right, that I do not doubt the credibility of the institutions behind this report.
Okay.
My highest respect for the institutions. I think Afrobarometer is well known to us.
Yeah.
The partner institutions like the rest of Zambia is our apex learning institution in Zambia. And the same also applies to the University of Nairobi.
Right.
So I think the integrity and credibility of the sponsors of this report cannot be doubted. But I think let me start first of all from a point of putting things into context.
Yeah.
Right. You have raised issues to tell in terms of the hierarchical order.
Yeah.
What are the pressing issues?
Yes.
Right. But before we do that, I just want to make a qualifier here: is that a country's economy does not operate in a vacuum. It does not operate in a vacuum. That is why we always want to put things in the context of what is happening in the global economy, right? So we may argue to say that Zambia is a sovereign country and it has got its own systems, process, and so on.
Yeah.
But the fact that we are interconnected to the global economy, right? That is why if there's a economic meltdown, it impacts the entire global system. And one thing is that the issue of cost is not peculiar only to the Zambian environment. Whether you go to South Africa, Nigeria, you saw that not too long ago, the issue of cost of living is huge. Notwithstanding that Nigeria is one of the top 5 producers of crude oil. Now, why do I put the issue of Nigeria into context?
Yeah.
Because we know in Zambia, for instance, that what are the cost drivers into the cost of living, right? What are those things that trigger the cost of living? One is the exchange rate, because we are an import-dependent economy. So any adverse movement on the exchange rate, it speaks to the cost of living. The issue of fuel, right? Again, it's interrelated to the exchange rate. But one thing that we have noticed is that for the past 6 months or in the current financial year, the exchange rate has behaved. It has been stable, right? Minor movements here and there, but it has settled. In other words, it has found its true value. So if we take out the exchange rate from the equation, the issue that comes in is now the issue to do with the oil price, right? We know the moment the oil producing countries go into war, what is happening in the Middle East, Iran and so on, it's bound to have an impact on the cost of price. I mean, the price of fuel. So we cannot run away from it. So let's put things into context so that as we discuss today, we speak from a point of knowledge. The issue, which again is very, very important, is the fact that there is also an issue which we have underplayed in terms of what you call the global supply chain, right?
Yeah.
The global supply chain. We are still having the effects of the supply chain because of the backlog around the COVID time, where the supply system basically shut down, and to restore that, it takes time. It was 2 years that the global supply system shut down. Up to now, there is still a backlog in terms of supplies, in terms of industries coming to production. So that also speaks to the issue of pricing and the cost of living. Now, in the Zambian context now, if you look at this Afrobarometer report, right, cash income, meaning that if you ask the question that they asked over the past year, how often, if ever, have you or anyone in your family gone without enough food to eat, enough water? But let me just go to the cash, a cash income, right? If you look at 2020, 78%, right? 78%. In my interpretation, it means 78% of the people who are respondents went without a cash income. That's my interpretation in 2020, right? In 2022, it has climbed down to what? To 76%.
Yeah.
In 2024, when they did this last survey, that is July 2024, it climbed down further to 73%.
Yeah.
Right? Now, that to me speaks to progress, right? And one of the things that we also have to understand is that getting an economy to work again, getting an economy to start performing and delivering, it's not an event where you wake up in the morning and it's like you switch on, plug and play, the economy is back on its feet. No.